Hi guys, you're watching Shaky Beeves. Welcome to my Design Insights video where we're going to be discussing enemy design, so kind of their behaviours, and also the level design itself of Bloodborne. Now I want to start off with this example here. So this is at the very start of the game, and it could be one of the most intense engagements that you get early on. So we're kind of presented with kind of a narrow alleyway, nowhere to really dodge or back out, because the other side of us there's a rock troll and some crows. So if we back out too far away from this engagement with these two walls, we're kind of stuck in a rock and a hard place. That's basically it. However, if you use your environment, as you can see here, you've just come up a narrow staircase, and the way these enemies are designed is you could say it's a fault. So it's the old strategy of cheesing. However, I think it's a very specific design choice from Fromsoftware. That it's very early on in the game. You could be easily overwhelmed by two werewolves in that kind of corridor space there above, and I think most of the time you'd get owned. But drawing them down here, using kind of a long weapon, or not even a long weapon, but just the fact that you're kind of exploiting the behaviours of the enemy and realising that they can't get through that door, and you can just kind of at leisure just take them out safely from inside the door here. So it's a very kind of early example of kind of FromSoft saying, look, we're presenting you with a situation, what are you going to do with it? And there's a quite obvious and specific design choice there, that look, use the corridor and use the tactics to your advantage. So here I want to go on to another example. Again, you can go to Yahagul Unseen Village quite early on in the game. So as you can see here, this is on my second character, so my health's really low. I've just invested heavily in strength, so I could quite easily be overwhelmed by these enemies. These are a particularly formidable enemy early on, and quite threatening. But as you can see here, the design choice is, if you wait for the kind of enemies to kind of set in their mode and their kind of pattern, then you'll see that the nearest one is always facing backwards. So we know straight away that if we don't aggro him, we can kind of leave him there. And again, using the environment to your advantage here, if you draw this guy downwards towards the staircase, again, it might seem like a problem, it might seem like an issue with the game. He cannot get past. He cannot get his head past that kind of roof. And again, I just love this, because this is, again, FromSoft giving you a purposeful, very specific design choice that will help you with these formidable enemies. So some call it cheesing, but I actually think it's one of the most beautiful, satisfying kind of parts of the game, that you can explore your surroundings, explore your environment, and realise, hold on, I've got quite an easy way to take these guys out. So I just love the way this game's built. I love the way everything's so clearly defined that it can be exploited and used in the right way. So as we can see here, this guy is frozen in his stance. As long as we don't aggro him, quite simply we're going to go up and backstab. There it is, took him out. And again, somebody who'd be very threatening usually, taken out with absolute ease. So it's very satisfying to use the strategies and methods that FromSoft present you with in this game. You only have to look to find another solution, another way to kind of get through the game, which is great. So this leads me on to my final couple of examples of kind of combat and the environment being exploited or used in the right way. So you remember these two guys, these are the first kind of proper hunter battles that you have. And I remember my first playthrough of Bloodborne, and these guys were absolutely formidable and threatening, and I found it really hard to take them out initially. So again, it's an early challenge, but if you use your environment, you can see here the design setup is we've got a roof that kind of towers above them. And very specifically here, I want to point out that there's a ledge just stopping us falling down the gap, and we've got a fence here. So this guy, his character design and his behaviours mean he never comes past the fence. As long as you keep him there, you can take him out so easily. And what would be a very damaging, very intense fight, because he's got high damage output, that guy, becomes very easy if we use the environment to our advantage. So it's just the kind of design choices that FromSoft do just bleed through everything, and I just think they're fantastic game developers. They're kind of masters of the art, really. because you could look at this environment and say it's purely artistic, it's purely to present kind of an artistic image and make it interesting, but it's not. Everything has a purpose in this game. So this guy's got a completely different kind of combat behaviour, if you like, and the tactic kind of keeping him behind the fence will not work. However, we also have to our advantage a pitched roof here. So this guy, his kind of design and his combat behaviour is he constantly spams his gun, and it gets very, very frustrating. So if you're in kind of a head-on battle with him, you just tend to get, he chips away at your health gradually with those kind of high blood tinge values that he has. So straight away Fromsoftware said, look, you thought you had it nailed, you thought you had an easy way to kind of deal with these two guys, and now you found that's not going to work. So you can see his character design, he doesn't stay behind the fence. However, if we use the pitch of the roof, so it's sloped by, down by each sides, it means we have that breathing space and instant cover to kind of avoid those blood tinge attacks. So if we just drop behind the pitch of the roof, it means he can't spam us with the trigger, as you're going to see shortly. And also you've got a good amount of space to kind of weave and dodge around here and get some kind of counter attacks. This guy's also got a lot more health, so he's a lot more threatening in terms of his behaviours and his design. So what you'll see in a minute is that when he starts spamming his trigger, as he usually would, because I'm using the pitch of the roof, he just kind of cannot damage me, which is great, and it allows me to kind of counter attack and have some time, which you're going to see in a moment. So it's just another kind of example of excellent kind of purposeful design from FromSoft, and also presenting you with always a curveball. They always pull the rug out from under you, because you thought you had it nailed with the first and then you realise this guy behaves completely differently. But if you use your environment again, you're going to find it a lot easier. So this is a great little battle on the rooftops. So guys, thanks for watching this video. Hope you found it interesting, and I just think it's a really kind of interesting insight into kind of the level design and the combat behaviours. Please subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content, and let me know what you think in the comments below.